Warning, incoming hostiles.
Hello and welcome to Ware Gaming Weekly. Hello and welcome to Ware Gaming Weekly for the week of May 8th, 2019. My name is Nick, and next to me, after 2 weeks, is my brother Josh. Say hi, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
If you didn't know, Ware Gaming Weekly sometimes posts every Wednesday on YouTube.com and on podcast services. We apologize that we were not here last week.
I was here.
Well,
but
Josh
somebody.
was. Well, you could have posted a show by yourself.
I could have, but it would have been very boring.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm good at having conversations with myself, so
Yeah.
maybe you should just pick up a cue or two.
Right.
Anyway, we were out last week, but hopefully we won't be out again, at least not for a while. So you should be expecting to hear from us.
At least for the next few weeks.
Yeah. So we have a lot of news to cover.
Yeah.
We picked a few big articles just to kind of sum up what's going on over the last 2 weeks.
Luckily, there were no bombshells. No huge pieces of news. I mean, we have a couple pretty big ones, but nothing like PS5 wasn't announced.
Yeah.
So
We're not playing Last of Us Part 2.
right. So
Well, are we?
are we?
Of course, you can go to waregaming.com and check us out there. Of course, you can follow us at youtube.com and search Ware Gaming.
Yeah, we still don't have a YouTube address.
Not yet. And, of course, you can write to us at weekly@waregaming.com. Just like someone, well, they didn't send us email, but they commented us a question
Yeah, on YouTube.
regarding what it's like being adults and gamers. So I kind of wanted to start off with that.
Do you have the question that we can read?
I didn't prepare for that, but I just reminded myself that happened.
Yeah.
Let me. So Tracy Ware, aka our mother, commented, "I was curious if you ever get negative comments or criticism for playing games as adults." And part of me feels like this is just mom giving us a lot of shade.
Well, no,
I'm
I
just
don't think so. I think it's just seeing the perspectives.
What do you think?
I mean, well, from her generation and the generation prior, games were a new thing. They came out as a toy. They started in arcades where you go in, put your quarter in, play a couple silly games, and then that was it. And then you had Nintendo, which was a Nintendo Entertainment System. It was sold as a toy. It was sold with the only way they were initially able to sell video game consoles at the time after the crash in '83 was to package it with a toy. And so they had Rob the Robot, which is why Rob the Robot exists. And so it was the NES system with Rob the Robot. And so it was sold as a toy. But in the last 35 years, it has progressed into its own form of entertainment, much like movies and TV.
Right. I think anymore now for me, when I have to talk about entertainment, like you said, games are in that conversation with music and books and everything.
But the cross section is much smaller.
Yes.
And I don't have a ton of friends that know one at work. Is a big gamer. I don't have a ton of even David. He is not a gamer at all. He has systems, but he's not a gamer.
Right.
And so there's definitely a smaller cross section of people who do think the same. But I don't know that I ever get negative comments, and I also don't really care. Honestly,
Well, I will admit that I have found that I will curtail the amount of video game nerdiness I have, depending on who my audience is. Like, whether or not I should, like, my high school theater mentor, I don't go into that with him. And not that I wouldn't. If he asked me about it, I probably would.
Right.
But I go to him for very specific reasons. So, but at the same time, I also know that if I were to say, "Oh, I'm interested in writing a video game or working in video games," he would just kind of laugh it off.
Right.
Not in a intentionally malicious way.
It's just an old school mentality.
Right. And he even said once when we did kind of have a soft conversation about it that he was like, he made like a scoff, but then he apologized because he's like, I know I should take it seriously. It's just so hard to take it seriously in my brain. So, I mean, do we ever get negative comments? I mean, other than that,
I don't ever get like, you still play games? Other games were for kids.
I mean, if anything, in college, we had Mario Kart.
I mean, if anything, like Fortnite is one of the biggest, like, revolutionary games of the generation, only because it has surpassed just the gaming industry. And you have huge pop music stars and movie stars and stuff that commented about it. And what's good about Fortnite is because you can just hop in and play. You don't have to like, you just gotta get in and understand the ropes.
Right.
And you can do that every game you play. You don't have to try to, like, I don't have to go and find the weapon and like, okay, now I have this weapon from here on out. Like, everybody starts the same. And that's why those games speak to the wider audience.
Right. And then another aspect of it for me, as someone who like calls himself a storyteller in a way, like, it's hard to defend to people. Well, I say it's hard. I have found it hard to defend to people the legitimacy of video games as storytelling when all they see is just like, and this is not necessarily derogatory, but games like Call of Duty or Fortnite where the only goal is just to, have the most kills or victories or whatever.
Well, yeah, but I mean, every
Sure.
medium has that, has had that, and
I'm not making the claim. I'm saying that's what that's where those situations I get in are. But the more people recognize, I think God of War and I think Uncharted and then God of War really like pushed the envelope on what it means to be a video game. And
yeah, but I again, I don't think that pushed, like, I don't think anybody outside games saw those and like, oh wow, because no one's looking at it.
Sure.
No one else is looking at it. No one else cares. And so, and that's fine. So if I were to get that kind of comment, I would just understand that they don't understand. It's an ignorance.
yeah.
For better or for worse. That was like Prince Harry's comment about Fortnite ruining, like, Fortnite should be banned because parents don't know how to deal with it. And it's just like, that's just a very ignorant comment. I mean, parents should be parents.
Right.
And not blame the video game. But that comes from someone who just doesn't understand video games and doesn't understand what it is and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I just understand that comments that would come as a negative connotation would be just out of ignorance.
Right.
Just like metal music is the devil. You just don't understand.
Right.
And that's fine. So, good question, Mom.
If you have any more, send us our way.
Anybody else?
Anyone? Dad? Okay, so now that we handled that, let's get into the who, what, and the where. And this week we are starting off with the news that came out today, as of this recording. EA Access subscription service coming to PS4. This write-up comes from Michael McWhirter at Polygon. Electronic Arts is bringing its EA Access subscription service, which offers early access trials to new games and a library of existing games as part of The Vault, to PlayStation 4 this July, the publisher announced on Tuesday. EA Access for PS4 will cost $4.99 a month or $29.99 annually. This is the same price as the existing EA Access service on Xbox One. Currently, EA Access promises subscribers to access more than 50 games as part of the Vault. The selection of games includes older and recent releases like Star Wars Battlefront 2, Burnout Paradise Remastered, Fe, The Sims 4, Battlefield 1, and EA Sports' most recent Madden and NBA and NHL games. On Xbox One, EA Access also offers backward compatibility for Xbox 360 games. EA did not provide a list of compatible titles coming to the vault for PS4, but presumably the list will be smaller than what's available on Xbox One, given that PS4 does not support PS3 games through backward compatibility. In addition to a library of older games, EA Access also offers what EA calls Play First Trials, which provides access to up to 10 hours of newer games. EA Access current play first trials include Anthem, Battlefield 5, and FIFA 19. Subscribers to EA Access also get a 10% discount on digital full game purchases, expansions, and in-game items like FIFA and Madden Ultimate Team Points and Apex coins for Apex Legends. EA Access first launched on Xbox One in 2014. Since then, EA has expanded the subscription service to PC with Origin Access and Origin Access Premier. The subscription service availability on PS4 is a reversal for Sony. In 2014, the PlayStation maker said it believed the service does not bring the kind of value PlayStation customers have come to expect. The quote is, "We don't think asking our fans to pay an additional $5 a month for this EA-specific program represents good value to the PlayStation gamer," a Sony representative said at the time. This does not say... Oh, wait. It says this July is when this is coming. But not
notice they said they've changed their mind after they've decreased the amount of games they're offering in the PlayStation Plus.
Yeah. But then they're going to make you pay $30 more a year for it.
I'm a little confused by the read of this.
Which part?
EA Access subscription service offers early access trials to new games and a library of existing games. So is it just trials of all these games? Or is it offers early access trials to new games and a library of existing games? I'm a little confused on that just by the wording here.
Right. So it would be weird.
I mean, am I going to pay $30 a year just to do
Sample
10-hour trials, or is this like Xbox Game Pass where I have a library of games and you have a new game?
Yeah.
I'm
thinking it's the latter, but it is a little confusing.
Because down here it says a 10% discount on digital full game purchases. So I'm just confused. Maybe I need to do a little more research, and I'll get back to you next week. But just based on the wording here, I'm a little confused as if EA Access is just this like demo service that you could pay for, or if it's like a Game Pass server, or like a subscription, Netflix service.
Right.
And it's possible that they just don't put all their new games on this service, and that's what they're trying to say here.
Right. Well, I guess now that you mentioned it, I was about to lead into saying that this is kind of an exciting thing because I've heard, it's one of those things. Everyone else has got it.
Yeah.
But we don't. But if it is just...
I can't imagine it's just a demo service. Maybe it's just the way this article is worded. It wouldn't make sense to pay $30 a year to play demos.
Right.
I don't think that's the case.
And it would give me an opportunity, just like Game Pass, to play EA games that I haven't had a chance to, that I wanted to, like Burnout Remastered.
Madden? Burnout?
Burnout would be fun to play again. I played it a lot, but I never, when it came out, I always just drove around. I never raced.
No.
I never, and then I got really tired of listening to Paradise City.
Yeah, so that's cool. We will keep you updated.
Had we had it, I would be interested in trying Battlefield 5. Or
we have Battlefield 1. You haven't played it yet.
I've played the first mission. I haven't played anything in like a month. I'm not worthy to talk about games.
So we said it's $30, $5 a month, and it comes out in July.
$30 a year, $5 a month, starts in July.
If it's a decent sized library of games, and it's a Netflix style service, $30 a year doesn't sound bad.
Right.
Yeah. So.
All right. Next up, more PS. These first three things are all about PS4 or 5. So take it away.
This next story is just about keeping your expectations in check. PlayStation 5 will not launch before April 2020 by Matt Perslow at GameIndustry.biz?
No. I'm sorry. Matt Purslow. This was up there.
IGN. So, I mean, that's the
news.
headline is the story. Like, it was Sony's PR said no next gen PlayStation launch over the next 12 months. So, November.
Yeah.
Well, as expected, there was rumors and maybe expectations that they would launch in spring, kind of like the Switch did, just like try to get ahead of Xbox and get a good left hook in. But for me, it just doesn't make sense to come out that early in the year.
Right. Well, I mean, it indicates like with the fiscal year that it could technically come out in May of 2020, but I don't see that happening.
May is too close to E3. You have a lot of companies that probably want to announce their games at E3.
Well, I mean, at the same time, Switch, released in March.
Yeah, but
or February or something.
But that's still 3 or 4 months to E3 versus, and then Nintendo doesn't really care about E3.
Right, that's fair. It also mentioned in a tweet that PS Now has been averaging 40% annual growth since its launch, with now 700,000 users, and much of 31.1 billion yen is to be invested in develop the next PlayStation console.
Yeah, so no surprises. And then it confirms some of the stuff we talked about the Mark Cerny article about the PS5. So that's all for that. No PS5 before by April 2020. So. But we will have a new State of Play, which is the PlayStation Nintendo Direct style video. New State of Play lands May 9th at 3 p.m. Of course, the day after this post. So we'll talk about it next week.
No, that's 2 days from today. Oh, the day after this post. You're right.
Yeah. This is from Sid Schumann at the PlayStation blog. Hi all, excited to share that State of Play will return for a new episode next Thursday, May 9th at 3 p.m. Pacific Time. It'll be a quick show, about 10 minutes, but we got some PS4 updates we couldn't wait to share with you. PlayStation Worldwide Studios will be showing off an extended look at Medieval, as well as the first look at a new title. And we'll have other updates and announcements from upcoming PS4 games. One note, don't expect any updates relating to our next generation plans at this time. Bye. And that's basically what it says.
It says sorry, not bye.
Sorry.
I'm curious what this new title is going to be. Is it a new title or an unannounced new title?
A new title. Well, I heard I listened to Colin's podcast, Colin Moriarty, and he knows of a PS4 title coming from the Sony Worldwide Studios that we haven't heard from yet. And he said you all would be excited.
Like an existing Worldwide studio that we haven't heard from, or a new studio?
That I don't know. It's a new title from a new first party title for the PS4 that we haven't seen yet. So
interesting. I guess we'll find out.
Maybe that's what we're looking
2
at
days.
Here. Medieval. I don't know. I never played Medieval on PlayStation. It's not my game. I didn't even like them in Smash Brothers PlayStation. PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, the original. So, but we'll talk about it next week. Hopefully, there's something exciting.
Yeah, we'll see it next week. If you are blind and want to play a game, there are ways for you to play it right now, but there may be a way for that to change again. Microsoft files patent for controller accessory with Braille input and an output. This is from Rebecca Valentine at gamesindustry.biz. Following the success of the Xbox Adaptive Controller and a pledge to continue pursuing inclusive design, Microsoft seems to at least be considering one other type of new accessible control scheme, a Braille controller. Dutch website Let's Go Digital spotted a patent filed by Microsoft and published last week for an Xbox controller accessory that would enable Braille output. The controller resembles a normal Xbox gamepad, but has additional hardware attached to the back of the controller that seems to allow users to both read Braille output and produce Braille input into a game. The patent shows a panel of the back of the controller with 9-dot matrices that seem to be able to form Braille letters, allowing the player to read Braille by feeling the back of the controller. There are also 6 paddles or levers protruding from the back panel that seem to allow users to input Braille characters to be read by the system. Let's Go Digital adds that the patent says the controller would also allow for speech conversion into input and features a variety of haptic feedback signals. Since this is just a patent, it isn't guaranteed that this project is specifically in the works at Microsoft. However, if it were, it would follow from Phil Spencer's pledge that the Xbox Accessibility Controller was only one step on our journey to inclusive design.
Well, that's very interesting.
And I think that's really cool.
I don't know anything about being blind. Like, I think asking any questions would make me sound ignorant. Like,
right.
Can you actually write in Braille?
I think what it seems like is that
And this
the
controller
Braille
will...
on the back would let you input commands in Braille and it would read Braille. But I'm not sure if that means, like, if you wanted to tap A on the Xbox controller, you type in, or if on the A button there would be a Braille A to or however that works.
It said Braille input and output.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe the haptic feedback is supposed to make the controller give the feeling of the Braille letters. I don't know.
Yeah.
But whatever it is,
it's very interesting. Kudos to Microsoft for continuing to do stuff like this.
Absolutely.
So.
And we apologize for any ignorance.
I mean, it's total. I've never even thought about it. Honestly, it's just...
Yeah. So the next few stories are a little heavy. So I've condensed them both down a little bit. So definitely go over to the respective websites to check them out. Why don't you take this one and I'll take the next.
All right. NetherRealm Studios, the guys behind Mortal Kombat, are investigating crunch and toxicity allegations from James Batchelor at GamesIndustry.biz. The developer behind Mortal Kombat has assured it is investigating its internal work practices.
Hold on, let me blow this up.
Yeah, blow this up for the old man. All right. The developer behind Mortal Kombat has assured it is investigating its internal work practices and attitudes following several reports of extensive crunch at the studio. Over the last week or so, multiple sites have reported on employees suffering from the amount of overtime in place at NetherRealm Studios, with former contractors revealing it's been like this for years. In GameIndustry.biz's, it's weird, own article, current employees at the developer spoke of 100-hour weeks and a self-sustaining crunch cycle that burns through new talent, as well as toxic, bro-centric work environment that is unwelcoming to women. Variety ran a similar article, including a response from the studio itself, promising to follow up on all of these reports. Quote, "At NetherRealm Studios, we greatly appreciate and respect all of our employees and prioritize creating a positive work experience. As an equal opportunity employer, we encourage diversity and constantly take steps to reduce crunch for our employees. We are actively looking into all allegations as we take these matters very seriously and are always looking to improve our company environment. There are confidential ways for our employees to raise any concerns or issues. Crunch continues to be an ongoing issue in the industry, with Fortnite creator Epic Games also coming under fire last month."
Let me go ahead and read the next one since it's very similar, and then we'll just kind of talk about them both.
Yeah, okay.
So this is from Kotaku, Cecilia DiNastasio, and Nathan Grayson co-writing this article. Over 150 Riot employees walk out to protest forced arbitration and sexist culture. Of course, this is at Kotaku. Over 150 discontented Riot Games employees walked out of the League of Legends publisher's office in Los Angeles today to protest the company's stance on forced arbitration. Standing in a parking lot on Riot's campus, employees held picket signs and gave impassioned speeches. Quote, We're asking that forced arbitration be ended for all past, current, and future Riot employees, including contractors and in current litigation, said Jocelyn Monahan, a social listening strategist at Riot, in an interview with Kotaku. Standing in front of a sign reading Rioters Unplugged, a play on Riot's internal Riot Unplugged meetings, Monahan would later tell her assembled colleagues through a megaphone, asking to feel safe does not make you entitled. Monahan had one major point she hoped to get across to her colleagues. Even those who chose to stay in their desk can continue... Monahan had one major point she hoped to get across to her colleagues, even those who chose to stay in their desk and continue working. Quote, "We are what makes Riot great. I want us to feel solidarity and connection with each other. I want us to feel connected. I want us to feel like our voices are heard and heard in a way that matters." Colleagues took turns speaking through the megaphone, with several admitting that they were scared to participate and be labeled anti-Riot. Said one, "I was worried. I was like, what if I go and nobody shows up? I'm a little less worried about that now." Others are showing their support with the hashtag Riot Walkout, with the Riot Walkout hashtag, which hundreds have been tweeting. In an email to Kotaku this morning, of this writing, a Riot representative added, "We respect rioters who choose to walk out today and will not tolerate retaliation of any kind as a result of participating or not." Toward the end of the walkout, Monahan made an announcement saying that if Riot management doesn't make any sort of commitment on forced arbitration by May 16th, the date of the next Riot Unplugged meeting, she and others involved will walk out involved with the walkout will take further action. Another walkout organizer, Riot writer Indu Reddy, was not able to delve into specifics of what they mean, but she told Kotaku that we do have plans and we do have days that we're planning, and we do have commitments that we have responses for. Reddy also said that despite Riot's statement, retaliation is an ongoing concern. "We might face unforeseen consequences despite leadership's own commitments, because leadership is one entity and there are a lot of rioters throughout the org," she said. "We will prepare for retaliation. I think it wouldn't be smart to not plan for it, but we're not assuming it either, because leadership said they wouldn't retaliate for this one anyway. We will continue to ask for confirmation for further demonstrations."
That's a big old mess.
Yeah, there's a ton of more on the article from Kotaku.
And for those unfamiliar, because I had to look it up to make sure we were
Talking about it right.
Forced arbitration is basically giving up your right to take them to court. So when you get hired, sometimes, or when you buy something, you agree to the terms of service, or you sign a waiver that waives your right to take them to court, either by yourself or even class action. And if you have any problems with the employer or the product, that you have to take it up with the company, and the company deals with it internally. So by nature, Riot has forced arbitration. So when every employee came in, they had to sign this waiver. Well, now all this stuff is going on. This sexist culture. There's some just awful things that they've talked about in the past that are going on there, as well as crunch and all this stuff.
And they can't
do anything about it because they waived the right to sue. And there's no unions in the games industry, so they're pretty much without a paddle.
Mm-hmm.
So
we have the issue with NetherRealms and this issue with Riot. Now, Riot we've heard about for a while, with the different things that are going on, just cringy behavior.
I don't even want to go into that.
And then hearing this about NetherRealms, I think the one thing that's interesting, and this is one of those times where I'm coming from a place of ignorance, or maybe optimism, is that both of these companies are, at least publicly, trying to be understanding. With NetherRealm saying, we've seen this, the NetherRealm statement, we take it seriously.
It's all PR speak.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Ed Boon is a good guy. From everything I hear, Ed Boon is the creator of Mortal Kombat, head of the studio. I think he is a good person. So I don't know how much he's.
And he's also one guy.
And he's also one guy in a huge company. I hope all these obviously get worked out. Crunch is, going back to crunch, it's a ongoing thing. 100-hour work weeks, it sounds crazy. I don't think I've done a 100-hour week ever.
Mm-mm.
So I think my biggest was 130 hours in 2 weeks.
Right.
Something that was crazy for me. And
right. I think when you talk about NetherRealms, there's this comment here, and again, it's one of those correlation does not necessarily equal causation. It says 100-hour work weeks and self-sustaining crunch cycle that burns their new talent, as well as toxic bro-centric work environment that is unwelcoming to women. This is also at the same time when there's a lot of outcry that Mortal Kombat is not including like scantily clad women as fighters in the game.
There's an outcry that there's not.
Mm-hmm. That certain characters, I don't remember the names because I'm not a big Mortal Kombat guy, but I remember reading stuff on Reddit and stuff that's like, because I can't kind of see these women's parts jiggle, then I'm not buying the game, or that NetherRealms is bowing down to whatever because they decided that it doesn't make sense for people to compete in the Mortal Kombat competition with nothing on.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
And so I'm not saying that they both can't exist, that they can't both be toxic bro-centric and try to change something about it. But I think big picture of like these wheels are turning and something's going to give. And if Ed Boon and the people up there are as responsible as we'd like to think they are, I'm really hoping that this gets turned around. But if this has also been happening for years, I'm wondering if it's one of those things that's like, this is just the way it is, and we're just going to accept that, or if they're going to say, let's stop that. And then with the Riot aspect of it, we have the section where it's where they said, we respect rioters who choose to walk out, and we won't retaliate of any kind as a result of participating or not. And who knows what that really means? Like, who knows if... And, some things I omitted from the article, but are still very important, are from our presentation of it. Talked about, like, well, how can you... Like, the retaliation doesn't have to come immediately from you walked out there, I'm firing you. Like, it's so messy. And... this is one of those times talking about these things that I wish I was just a little more intelligent about the industry. Yeah. To have a more proper, take on it.
We don't work there. We don't work in any of these places. We've never been in any of these situations. So it's pure, speculation. We're, outside viewers. So
right.
We can only hope that they all, come together to figure it out. I don't care about League of Legends. I've always enjoyed Mortal Kombat, though, just as a passing player. So I do hope they figure that out. They have a lot of great games with Injustice and
absolutely
Mortal Kombat.
And I think at the end of the day, even though you and I aren't the most knowledgeable about the inner workings of a game studio and don't necessarily have the authority to talk about it intelligently, quotes for audio listeners, that I think it's so important for us to present it so that if you and your workspace are also experiencing things, you're not the only ones. And like, working on a movie, I witness in minuscule ways, very, very like unintentional but still problematic, behaviors.
Yeah.
And I think the more you realize that it's not just your company problem, the better it'll be for us to work together on trying to change that, job future for us all. I hate the idea of having this dream job of working at NetherRealms and then getting there only to find that it's, a terrible place to work.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you to take a step back, like as far as that, If you were to tell me, well, hey, you're gonna go work at NetherRealm Games, they're kind of like a bunch of bros there.
It wouldn't be surprised.
I'd be like, okay, let's go. But that totally would buy that.
Right.
But I'm a dude. It wouldn't bother me at all.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right. And so now the perspective is like, how can you have that sort of what it means to you to have a bro-centric environment while not excluding the people who are working with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a tough thing, but you're right. Like when I read that the first time, I'm like, duh.
Yeah.
Like it's a fighting, and that's
it's
just
Mortal Kombat. It's about ripping dudes' spines out, through their chests.
Right.
That's what, but that doesn't excuse,
Yeah.
Inappropriate behavior.
Right. Absolutely. So that is that. We have a few more not complicated articles. Why don't you lighten us up a little bit?
Super Mario Kart has been inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame by Jeff
Young.
I don't think it's actually pronounced that way, but maybe it is. Young at hypebeast.com.
I saw the article and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think this particularly matters.
New York-based The Strong is a self-proclaimed National Museum of Play, and this year it has added Super Mario Kart from 1992 to its Video Game Hall of Fame. Among the new entrants this year are also Microsoft Windows Solitaire, 1990, and Mortal Kombat, 1992. The games were selected from a list of 12 finalists, which include Candy Crush Saga. Centipede was a great game. DDR, Dance Dance Revolution, Half-Life, Myst, NBA 2K, Sid Meier's Civilization, and Super Smash Bros. Melee. Well, a couple
Solitaire
big
beat Melee? Well, I guess Solitaire is much more widely played.
I mean, everybody who owned a computer played Solitaire.
For sure.
Especially in the 90s. Shedding light on the selection process, the museum writes on its website, anyone may nominate a game to the World Video Game Hall of Fame. Final selections are made on the advice of journalists, scholars, and other scholars. I want to see like a list of like
who the scholars are.
Video game PhD. And
Greg Miller at the top.
And other video game or other individuals familiar with the history of video games and their role in society. The games submitted are judged from 4 criteria: icon status, longevity, graphical reach, and influence. Excuse me. The nomination process is now underway for the inductees of 2020, so head over to The Strong's website. It's a terrible name. Sorry. Terrible name. If you want to nominate your favorite video game for the Video Game Hall of Fame.
What's a video game?
I'm sure that there must be some kind of like, that must be a reference to something, but it's bad. Just call it I guess you can't just call it the Video Game Hall of Fame. On a like a side note, I saw a story that we didn't add because it's not that important, but more surprising is that the Mario Kart on the Wii.
I did see this. Go ahead.
Outsold Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. I
thought it was that Mario Kart Wii outsold Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch this past fiscal year.
I thought it was on the Wii, but
here, Mario
sorry.
Kart outsell. Do 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 do.
Where did that story go?
I'm looking and something's not happening.
I can't find it either.
Kart
We might have to cut this out.
Deluxe underperformed. Mario Kart Wii outsells Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Here we go.
Nintendo Life.
Mario Kart Wii sold 5 times as many copies as Mario Kart 8 over the last financial year. This is by Ryan Craddock at Nintendo Life. If you need any further proof that Nintendo's evergreen classics are of incredible importance to the company, this little statistic should do very nicely indeed. Toward the end of last month, Nintendo shared its latest financial report. Thanks to this, we were able to share the list of all-time best-selling games across Wii, Wii U, DS, 3DS, and Switch. But there was one small detail which we didn't pick up on at the time. When looking at Mario Kart Wii and Mario Kart 8 on Wii U, comparing their sales totals as of March 2019 to March 2018, we can see that the former outsold the newer Wii U release by 5 units to 1 during that financial year. So that's not really news to me.
Yeah, it's what it's saying on the Wii U, right?
Right.
But
I
no,
thought
but
it was
look,
the Switch one.
It's saying that Mario Kart Wii outsold the Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U in the last year by 5 times.
Okay.
In the last year. Mario Kart on the Wii came out 11 years ago. That's the point.
I see. It's still, I mean, I guess people, Dance Dance Revolution still comes out on the Wii. No, Just Dance still comes out on the Wii.
But shouldn't everybody already have Mario Kart on the Wii at this point?
Right. I don't think we did. But we
I don't like the Wii.
Well,
anyway, so that was the long side note to the story about
Mario Kart
being Super Mario Kart, which was a great game,
yeah.
being added to the Video Game Hall of Fame, and we could put which one?
I was gonna say, what would you put on the Hall of Fame?
Mass Effect 2. I mean, because I just picked like my favorite games, Mass Effect 2, Kingdom Hearts 2.
Is it? But what about like objectively?
Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is objectively, in my opinion, top 5 video games ever made.
Fair enough.
Last of Us.
Okay.
Persona 5.
I figured Persona would be on that
Persona
list.
5 has the music, has the art style, and I don't know that it like breaks the mold as far as gameplay wise. I mean, it does what Persona does, but as far as the style and character it brings, what do you?
Okay, I think this is the list of inductees of all time. I'm gonna run through them really quick. Starting
Is this Strong's website?
This is World Video Game Hall of Fame.
Yep.
The Strong. Yep. Okay. There's only a handful for this. Only goes back to 2015, I guess, when they started doing this. So, 2015, and that were the games that were inducted were Doom, Pac-Man, Pong, Super Mario Brothers, Tetris, and World of Warcraft.
Okay.
2016, Grand Theft Auto 3.
That's the one.
Sonic the Hedgehog, Space Invaders, The Legend of Zelda, The Oregon Trail, and The Sims.
Okay.
2017, they inducted Donkey Kong, Halo Combat Evolved, Pokemon Red and Green, and Street Fighter 2.
Okay.
And then 2018 inductees were Final Fantasy 7, John Madden Football. I guess that's just the franchise. Space War, and Tomb Raider. And then, of course, 2019, Super Mario Kart, Mortal Kombat, Microsoft Solitaire, and Colossal Cave Adventure
I think I played that actually.
on Commodore 64.
I didn't play it on Commodore 64, but I think I played that in my games history class or whatever.
And the Tomb Raider, just to be clear, is the 96
Yes,
Tomb Raider, not the reimagined one. Since it's so new of a list in terms of how long it's been since it was created, and it seems like they induct 4 or 5 games a year.
Minesweeper
should probably be on it. Is there some pinball game? I don't know if that's revolutionary.
No.
Mass Effect 2 would be pretty good, because of how it develops storytelling.
Yeah.
I think. Let's see. What do you think about like Mario 64? I mean, there's quite a bit of Mario.
You run the risk of oversaturating Mario. Not that, I mean, Mario is a was and always will be an important piece of the video game puzzle. Mario 64 did what it needed to do to push 3D graphics in a way that we hadn't seen before. So Mario 64 should probably be on there, but it's probably the last Mario game as far as mainline that should go.
Now, the article talked about what it does to judge what games should do. It says icon status, longevity, graphical reach, and influence.
Yeah. So I think Mario 64 does check all those boxes.
But I do wonder if one of the other games that's already on the list already kind of does that. Like, I mean, not to compare Mario Kart and GTA 3 or something like that, but you know what I mean.
Already does what? What
Mario 64 does.
Well, no, because Mario 64 was a character 3D platformer, and that's not really represented as far as we saw.
No, just don't pay attention to me. Keep talking.
Because the other, Super Mario is in 2D. Grand Theft Auto is an open world. Was one of the Grand Theft Auto 3, one of the first open world games where you could go anywhere, you could get in any car, you could kill anybody that was on the street. Had an enormous amount of cheats. You were blocked from different islands, but you could cheat your way over there, and you would get in trouble. And there was just so many systems in there that were so unique that we hadn't seen before. And it was done on a PS2.
Right.
And it was that I remember that game being huge. We talked earlier about no one I know has played video games. Everybody in my middle school was talking about Grand Theft Auto 3. Like, I tried to get Mom to buy Grand Theft Auto 3. Didn't work.
Yep.
So I had to play it over David's. And we would spend, probably one of my favorite games of all time. I wouldn't put it in my top. Yeah, I probably would. Probably my top 20. Okay. Because me and David would just spend countless nights. I never played the story. Like, I got through to the second island, I think. And then you would just you would just try to survive as long as you could by blowing things up. You put in all the cheats. I could still, to this day, put in the cheat codes. I know them by heart. I know the weapon cheat, the armor cheat, the health cheat, the
Can you recite them?
R2, R2, L1, R2, left down, right up is the weapons. Then it's R2, R2, L1, R1 is the armor. And then R2, R2, L1, R2, up, down is lower the wanted level. And then you do the reverse if you want to raise the wanted level. So,
man, what happened to cheat codes? Those are so fun.
So good. Now you got to put them in the phone on the Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 is great, but nothing will compare to Grand Theft Auto 3 for me.
Well.
Nothing compares
to you. Where did I hear that recently? It doesn't matter. All right. For our actual last story of the day.
Is it?
Well, we'll see if I can find the doc.
Speaking of Persona.
Josh's game of all time.
Game of the century.
Persona 5 Scramble.
Not this one.
I keep wanting to say Scrabble. Persona 5 Scrabble.
Well, Scramble's a terrible name.
Yeah. I'd almost prefer Persona 5 Scrabble.
I would, yeah.
Be like, Persona.
Anything.
Persona 5 Scramble, the
Persona
Phantom
5
Strikers.
Smash. Slash. Warriors.
Persona 5 Scramble, the Phantom Strikers, officially confirmed for Switch. This is also from Ryan Craddock at NintendoLife.com.
That could also be the title for like a Persona soccer game.
Yeah, when I saw the Phantom Strikers,
because there was a Mario Strikers or whatever.
After all the rumors, curiosity, and questioning surrounding Persona 5S, we finally have an answer as to what the thing actually is.
It is not.
The good news is that it is a Switch game after all. The other different news is that it is not a port of Persona 5. The game's full title is Persona 5 Scramble, The Phantom Strikers, confirmed for Switch during a concert in Japan the day this was written. The game is a spin-off from the main series. Atlus has released the first trailer for the game. Phantom Strikers is an action RPG created alongside Koei Tecmo and Omega Force. Koei Tecmo's Warriors style gameplay can be seen in the trailer. It has been confirmed for release on both Switch and PS4, although no release date has set just yet.
So the Phantom Strikers, Warriors, what they mean is the Dynasty Warriors. It's called a Musou, and it's basically like the most hack and slash you can get. Like you get like, hundreds of characters on the screen, and then you're just spinning around, slashing enemies and killing them, usually with one hit. And it's more wave based kind of combat.
I remember really playing the Warriors games because I thought it was a lot of fun, but I never really knew what I was doing.
Yeah. This looked a little interesting. It showed we saw watching the trailer. It looked similar to that, but you saw some combat using Arsene, the
Persona?
His main persona. It's unclear whether we'll see other personas or if you'll collect personas throughout the game and be able to use them differently. It looks like, for the most part, the ads, the monsters you're facing are mostly like just shadow creatures with masks. But we honestly don't know too much more about it.
I mean, it doesn't look bad. I mean, I'll probably end up getting it, but
it looked a little clunky at first. Watching some of the gameplay, but again, we just don't know enough about it to give an impression. I'll be looking for it, but Persona 5 Scramble is a terrible name, and I'm sorry you can't play Persona 5 on the Switch. You can play Persona 5 Royal on the PS4.
So with that, just to wrap in the other Persona 5 news, we're unsure if we talked about it, so if we did, we're just going to talk about it again. Persona 5, the Royal, was announced really around the time Strikers was, and this is some new information about it. The Royal gets a new director and a producer than the original Persona 5 game. Daiki Ito, director of Persona 4 Golden and lead confidant planner of Persona 5, will be directing Persona 5 The Royal, replacing Katsura Hashino. Hashino-san has now moved on to Project Re-Fantasy for the PlayStation 4. Kazuhisa Wada, chief designer of Persona 4 Golden and director of Persona 4 Arena, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, and Persona 4 Dancing All Night, will be producing the game. Persona 5 The Royal will be releasing the 31st of October in 2019 in Japan, exclusively for the PS4. It is due for the West sometime next year. There's a trailer out. It shows a new female confidant with, right now, at least in English, we don't know what her name is. I don't know if it says her name. And
it looked like there was a new location,
a new castle,
it looked like maybe a new school involved.
There was something definitely different.
Maybe you're visiting another school for some reason, kind of like Yusuke was from the art school.
Yeah.
And then a new palace. Looked like everybody had new abilities and things going on.
And upgraded graphic.
Like I said earlier when we were watching it, it's clear it's not just like tacked on to the end of Persona 5. It's like this is like a full-on remaster. It looks fancy. There's the animations looked a lot smoother, more robust. So we'll be excited to play more.
Absolutely.
Persona 5.
I'll have to figure out I'll have to wait to see, and that I don't doubt that it's worth it. But how much more it really is in terms of content. Because it's already
a semester.
Oh wow. So it's going to be a 150-hour game, essentially, or 180
600-hour game.
Who knows?
Platinum too.
But when we know more, we will let you know. Real quick, I'm going to go through this week's games, and then we are going to be out of here. So coming out May 9th is For the King on Switch.
For the King.
Also, Life is Strange 2 Episode 3 Wastelands comes to PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Yakuza Kiwakami.
What day?
May 9th. Also on May 9th. Also, I am really disappointed with myself that I haven't gotten into Life is Strange 2 yet. But I haven't had time.
Yeah.
Haven't made time. Yakuza Kiwami 2 comes to PC on May 9th. For the King comes to Xbox One on May 10th. Mortal Kombat 11 comes to Switch on May 10th. A Plague Tale Innocence on PC, PS4, and Xbox One comes on May 14th. And Rage 2 comes to PC, PS4, and Xbox One on May 14th. A Plague Tale is the one with like the kids in the Rat City, I think.
I saw a title, icon for it, and I haven't seen anything else about it.
I would be interested in getting Mortal Kombat 11 on the Switch, but I know
I'd rather get it on PS4 Pro.
I mean, I know that it will look
better.
I
I want the fidelity of ripping your spine from your chest.
Yeah. Well.
You know what else comes out on May 10th? I believe it's May 10th. That's next Friday, or this Friday, is Detective Pikachu.
Ah, yes. Well, you still haven't seen Endgame yet, so.
Or Captain Marvel. So.
And technically, the Russo brothers had the embargo yesterday. Was up. So, I could go ahead and spoil Endgame for you right now.
My embargo doesn't end.
Oh, you don't know?
No.
We'll tell that to the rest of the world.
I
just have to tell you.
I just ignore everything.
Thanos. Wait, that was Infinity War.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Anyway, so that's the show for May 9th, 8th, 2019. Thank you for sticking along with us as we struggle. We got through that.
Yeah.
I was a little tired. But
tired.
Next week we will be
today.
back. I know.
I worked.
Being off is tiring. But next week we will be back with more information and maybe
we'll definitely be talking about the state of play.
Yes, for
sure.
And
that's all I can think of at the moment.
And maybe I'll have actually played a video game, though I doubt it.
I played more Katana Zero.
Oh yeah.
It's fun.
It's fun.
I haven't beat it yet because I just haven't. With Smallville. And
we're almost done with Smallville.
Almost done.
You'll finally get to hear us stop talking about Smallville.
At least we're not doing like reviews every episode or anything.
No.
Yet.
We're gonna rewatch Smallville again.
And then with David, I played. I got to play more Smash Brothers.
Okay.
I got to play more with Joker, and he's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I do very good with him.
But David was not.
David was not. David was not good at all. Of course, I beat him just about as bad as I beat you, except you beat me like twice.
Yeah, but we shouldn't talk about that. Oh, so that's the show.
I beat you with the Villager.
As always, you go to youtube.com and search Ware Gaming. You can find us on Twitter at WareGaming_. You can find me at SpeakNicklish.
And you can find me at Jaws1015. And until next week, say goodbye, Nick.
Goodbye, Nick.